Hey guys, welcome. It is Brad with College SportsCast. We are here to do our Big Blue HoopsCast, episode 11. All right, guys, welcome in. We are kind of doing a post game for the women's Kentucky basketball tonight. So the women just got through playing about 30, 45 minutes ago at Ole Miss, and this is a pretty much a post game for them tonight. They had a big game. But before we dig into that, John, I'm going to talk about Facebook here real quick. You can help support us by sending stars. Also, you can subscribe to our Facebook page. It's only 99 cents a month, guys. It does give you your own chat. I am in the chat at least couple of times a day trying to chat. Also gives you your own subscribers page. It's only 99 cents a month, and it does help support us to continue to do this for you guys, and we appreciate that. So if you're on YouTube, we appreciate you as well, and we're trying to get there on YouTube as well. So all right, John. So let's talk about the good to start with. Kentucky women were ranked 8th today, top 10, got inside the top 10 for the first time this season, to be quite honest with you. And, John, it's their highest ranking since December of 2015. You're muted, man.
Props to the women. I mean, they've had a good year. They've won some really big games. Oklahoma. They beat Louisville this year. Got a lot of great wins on their resume. Unfortunately, you get this big ranking today and you flop tonight. I mean, it's just one of those deals. I mean, we've seen
I'm going to be honest with you, John. So, and I'm going to say this probably a few times tonight on the show. It feels like that's what happens with Kentucky basketball anymore.
It does.
Every time we think we have some momentum and we are moving up in the polls and we get in the top 10, or I think the guys got in the top 5 a time or two, but every time that happens, we stumble.
Seems like a curse, and
yeah, we stumble.
We went into the locker room up 6 at halftime. Everything was seemed like it was going great. Key had 10 points. She had 7 rebounds. She played really, really well. But I'm going to tell you something, Brad, that really stuck out to me in this game. Ole Miss's defense was
If you don't know, that's what Ole Miss is. Coach Yo, they play hella defense.
They do. They play really good defense.
They only average giving up 52.9 points a game. We had 37 at halftime, and I told I said at halftime, I was like, we have 37 points at halftime, and they only average 52.9, and if we could keep that pace, we would win. That's what I said. Unfortunately, the second half, man, was just a struggle.
They was 9 of 28 from the field. They was 0 from 8 from 3. Ole Miss forced 8 turnovers. They also out-rebounded Kentucky, I think, by, 11, 12 maybe. They had, I think, 11 offensive boards.
Because the rebounding was pitiful.
It was bad. Kentucky pulled within 2, I think, late. I think there was like 3 minutes to go. That's the last I seen. And Madison Scott is a really good basketball player. She had 22 points.
She is.
I think she was the only Ole Miss player with double digits. Wildcats had – listen to this, Brad. This is a stat that's going to stick out like a sore thumb to me. Kentucky had 2 bench points. 2.
Well, to be honest with you, John, they didn't play a lot of bench.
They didn't, but that sticks out to me because –
yeah, but you're not going to get – Clara Silva probably didn't play 3 minutes in the first half, and the only other bench person that played was Sanaya Tyler.
And I will give a positive about this game. Clara Strack broke the Kentucky school record for blocked shots in the game with 8, which that was that record was held by Denisha Stallworth back in 2013. She was a really good basketball player for Kentucky back then. But she had 13 points, 10 rebounds. Amore had 15 and 5 for the Cats. Just a tough night, especially in the fourth quarter. Ole Miss just swarmed them defensively for the last 20 minutes. They just could not get a bucket off. It was just they was just causing havoc. Coach O is a really good coach.
Anthony, I will seriously, I don't listen, guys. This Ole Miss team was ranked preseason. They have been in the polls. They have been knocked out, but they are a good team and a great defensive team.
I think it's let me say this, Wireman.
It's not a bad loss.
I think this is what I think he's getting at. It's a bad loss if you're wanting to get a top seed.
Well, listen,
you got to win this game.
Here's in the grand scheme of things, though. Let's be honest.
Was we really going to do much going into the year? That's.
Wait a second. No, I'm not talking about just that. But in the grand scheme of things, Kentucky is sitting at 8-2. And if you would have told me even 2 weeks ago, when we started this stretch, that we would beat Alabama and go to Oklahoma on the road and win, but we dropped Ole Miss, I would have taken that.
Well, and then you drop the A&M game. You know, I think Kentucky struggles with a lot of athletic teams. I think Kentucky men do the same thing.
I think Kentucky struggles with physical defensive teams.
That's what I'm saying. Physical play is what I meant. Yes.
I don't think it's athletic teams. I think
some of them are athletic. You know, A&M was really athletic, and they caused us a little problems on the defensive end at times.
So here's the deal: Kentucky is now 19-3. All 3 losses have been against physical teams on the road. At North Carolina, and here's the even broader scape on this. All 3 of them, Kentucky struggled in the second half.
They did. And they had
in
a lead.
The first half at North Carolina, it was only like a 2 or 3 point game. Kentucky was in the game. Second half, they struggled. They got blown out. All right. A&M, they had a lead at halftime, struggled in the second half, struggled shooting in the second half, had a lead of 10 points in about halfway through the third quarter and lost. Tonight, they had an 8-point lead, 45-37, halfway through the third quarter, struggled shooting, and lost. On the road.
And I'm going to be honest with you, bro. They couldn't stop Madison Scott. She just had her game.
Well, it wasn't just that. I mean, Lord have mercy. We lost to a team, John, that shot less than 32% from the field and less than 14 from 3.
Well, what they did,
Do you know why we lost? 27 offensive rebounds.
Yeah, and not even, they was out rebounding, I think, 54-33. They had some crucial turnovers late in the game that cost them. Ole Miss had some second chance points that they took advantage of. Amia Hassett had 0 points.
She had 0 shots.
That's the biggest.
You're not going to score She literally took 0 shots.
And this is not what really hurts, Brad. This loss hurts. But now you got to go from take your mind off Ole Miss. Now you got to play Texas Thursday. Like, where's your mind frame at? At home. Like, do you let this loss turn into 2, or do you try to figure things out and try to get back to what you know and how to play? And I think this game's going to tell a lot to where the Lady Cats are, in my opinion.
So I got to talk about Teonni and Clara Strack in this game. There was some positives to take out of this game tonight. Both of these players, Teonni and Clara Strack, both had double-doubles. Teonni had 18 points and 10 or 11 rebounds. I'll have to look at the stats to be exact. But she also had 4 block shots. Clara Strack not only had 13 points and 10 rebounds, but she also had 8 block shots. She came within 2 blocks of having a triple-double. And if it wasn't for missing a few shots, because Clara missed a few shots that she normally would hit, and she missed them tonight. If it wasn't for that, Clara had an absolute monster of a game. Let's just call it like it is. And Teonni was fantastic, to be quite honest with you. You're muted again.
I think Kentucky's struggle started in the third quarter. They was very inefficient. Ole Miss was attacking them defensively. I think they took a lead in the third. Kennedy Todd Williams hit a shot late in the quarter. They closed on an 11-2 scoring run. Kentucky was up 45-37.
Yep.
And it was like after that point of the game, Kentucky never could figure it out anymore.
They never they never pushed in the fourth quarter to really get back into it. I think they might have cut it.
On the final media timeout, they got within a single possession.
Yeah. One time. Yeah,
one time.
I think.
But
yeah,
we just never could figure out the Ole Miss defense. Just Coach O, I'm going to tell you.
And
if you've not watched
right, Chris, I know you're a Vandy fan, and I know who you are, okay? But here's the deal, man. Seriously, Clara Strack is one of the best bigs in the SEC. She had a monster game today, like monster. She was eating them up on the inside. 8 block shots. She had 10 rebounds. She had a double-double. The only knock on Clara's game tonight wasn't anything to do with physical play. It was that she missed some shots that she normally hits. If she knocks down one more of those threes that she was wide open, and then if she knocks down about 2 or 3 more of those 12 to 15 footers, she had a monster game. Absolute monster.
It maybe changes the outcome. Maybe gets them closer.
And she had some wide open looks.
Yeah.
Wide open. The only knock on her game tonight was that she missed some wide open looks. That's it.
Props to Ole Miss. I mean, everybody's going to say, well, you lost to a pretty not so good team. Well, let's just kind of backtrack a minute. Ole Miss was ranked preseason.
They were ranked top 15 preseason.
They got a good team. Madison Scott, Kennedy went like Coach O,
KK Deans.
She's very good defensively coached. And listen,
she's one of the best in the country.
This is not a terrible.
I mean, go look. Ole Miss holds their opponents to 52.9 points a game.
Well,
they're one of the best in the country.
Look at it from a week ago. They almost beat Texas.
Yeah.
Like, this is – people don't understand the SEC is brutal.
Yeah. Listen.
From top to bottom.
With this win, if they can win another time this week, they will likely be ranked next week.
Yep.
Now beating us. More than likely, unless they lose Thursday or Sunday, then maybe not. But right now,
I think Deja played good too a little bit. She had 9 points, but
Deja, but I mean, again, she couldn't hit the three tonight, and she's a 45% three-point shooter on the year.
Yeah,
she's the top 3-point shooter in the SEC, by the way. She's number 10 in the country. She's the top 3-point shooter, and she just could knock down the three.
Let me tell you how good defensively Ole Miss is, okay? The last final 3-13, Kentucky never scored another point from the field.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean.
Yeah, I agree with you, Chris. He says the issue going forward is
the schedule. Of course, but we've known that all year long. Well, yeah, that's not a secret. I mean, that's not a secret. I mean, we've known that we've been talking about it on this show all year long. I mean, and that's why I said when this gauntlet started 2 weeks ago, when we had these road games coming up and ranked Alabama team, and then we've got Texas this Thursday. And when this gauntlet started, if you would have told me that we could go 2-3 out of the first 3 games,
if you would have told me. Now, Brad, here's something to kind of dip into. If you would have told me, I guess back in July, that Kentucky was going to be 19-3 and 8-2 in conference, I would have laughed in your face.
Well, the issue right now is this. The schedule's tough. Chris is right. The schedule's tough. We now are 8-2, and the 2 next teams to us are 7-4.
Texas
behind us. So the top 4 teams get a double bye. Right now, Kentucky's in the double bye position by itself, number 4. Yeah. Okay? The next 2 teams are Alabama and Ole Miss.
They just can't go on a big losing streak if they
right. So what Kentucky has to do here is win enough games to keep that 4 spot.
Yeah, because you go on a 3-4 game losing streak, you could get past.
That's what Kentucky has to do. Listen, this is not about – it would be great, man. I'm not going to sit here and act like it would not be – it would be so great if we could have won tonight, if we could beat Texas on Thursday, if we could stand our ground right this minute and say Kentucky is one of the best teams in the country and they have a shot at a national title. Be fantastic. I would love to sit here and tell you guys that. But this is the first year
under Kenny Brooks.
We're 19-3, and we have a shot of being one of the top 4 teams, a real shot of being one of the top 4 teams in the SEC tournament, March the 5th through the 9th. And
a top seed to where they can play 2 home games in March. Like I said, Brad, if you'd have told me that we would have had this record back in early July or June, I would have laughed at you. What he's done with this roster and how he's put them together and how he's managed this schedule and how he's won some of these games in SEC, it goes a long way to show that Kenny Brooks is the man for this job, and his recruiting is going to get better. He's bringing in a couple girls next year. The Carroll girl, I can't think of the other one. There's another one. It's on the tip of my tongue.
We'll see what Madden Greenway's not next year.
Not next year. She's the year after. Yeah, but he's got them going in the right direction.
Oh, absolutely.
And as we go to this Texas game, Texas is coming off a high from South Carolina.
So Kentucky is going to welcome the number 3 team in the country is coming to Lexington Thursday night. And they're coming off of that high, John. I mean, Madison Booker just took down and when I say took down, I mean took down the almost 4-year undefeated SEC champs, South Carolina. They had won 57 straight SEC regular season games.
I'm telling you, man, this
57, y'all. And they took down Tennessee. It was on their home floor. And for everybody that's going to say something, South Carolina handled them pretty easily on their home floor. But
I'll tell
Texas
you, Brad, this team's good, man. Taylor Jones for Texas.
Yeah.
Madison
Old
Booker.
Acre. My Lord, she's going to be a beast down there.
Roy Harmon. Shea Hole. Is it Shea Howell?
Holly. It's Holly.
Yeah, it's Holly. And then they got Clara. Old Acre. Is that how you say it? Old Acre?
Old Acre, yeah. Gosh, she's a beast. She's so big.
She's 13 against South Carolina.
Yeah, she's just so big and physical.
I'll be honest with you, man. This game is not going to be a cakewalk. Kentucky's going to have to.
Here's the deal.
Kentucky's going to have to place.
Kentucky is still undefeated at home. Yeah. Can Kenny Brooks and Georgia Amore hold serve at home? They're still undefeated. I'm not saying they can, guys, but this is an absolute monster of a game, especially coming off this loss to Ole Miss now tonight. If they could hold serve against this Texas team, they will not drop any or much in the AP poll.
Here's where I want to go with this. If anybody's out there, I know a lot of people's watching this. Go to the game. If you're near Lexington,
absolutely.
There's
still some tickets.
Give these girls some support. It's at Memorial. I don't think they've had really have they had a packed house?
Yeah.
Have they? Okay.
Yeah, they have.
This is a big opportunity. Well, the Louisville game, yeah. They need another atmosphere like the Louisville game. Because this kind of game deserves that, because it's Texas. This is a chance to knock off one of the top teams that not only are playing for the SEC, but are playing for a title, for a national championship.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Texas is a real deal.
They're good. They're just not, Schaefer is a really good coach. Vic, he knows how to get his girls to play. He knows how to get them motivated. So bring your energy, bring whatever you have to do, pom-poms, scream, I don't know, just anything to get Texas distracted. Not saying that's not what's going to happen, because Texas is probably going to be into this game, but anything to cause disruption as a fan base. I always say rowdy Rupp, like when Rupp gets rowdy, make it rowdy Memorial on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be. This place has got to be crazy on Thursday night.
It needs to be a big crowd.
The crowd's got to be in it. It's got to be a crazy, absolutely atmosphere.
Because they're hurting after a game like this. You play good against Oklahoma last week. You got a week off. You come back to play Ole Miss and you lose. It's tough.
Especially when you led 2/3 of this game.
And I'm going to tell you
just
something,
couldn't finish it.
I tell people all the time, and this goes for men and women's. Road games in the SEC are absolutely brutal.
They are.
You got the fans against you. You're not going to get some calls. Momentum changes really quick on you. You can be down 2 and then get down 12 really quick in a flurry. Road games are tough. And if you can kind of swim above water,
Chris, I hope you're right, because I think it could be a trap game. Because the reason why I say that, yesterday on Sunday, they played South Carolina and won a big game at home. Mm-hmm. Then this coming Sunday, they play LSU. Yep. So guess who the game is in between?
Kentucky. Yep.
They play Kentucky Thursday night on the road. And that's in between South Carolina and LSU.
I see what you did there, Chris. He said, so you need an environment like the real Memorial Gym. I see what he did there. Oh, goodness. I like Chris, man. He's a cool guy.
Listen, I'm not going to take anything away from Vandy.
No, I ain't either. They have
Shea Ralph has done an excellent job this year.
Yes, sir.
You guys have a awesome trio. Michaela Blakes is the real deal. Camille Pierre is really, really, really good.
I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't be shocked if Vanderbilt
and Moore
made a run in the SEC tournament.
So, y'all got a great team down there. We were lucky to go down there and beat y'all like we did, especially in apparently the real Memorial Gym.
Yeah. I was saying real quick, I wouldn't be shocked if Vanderbilt made a run in the SEC tournament. This team's fun to watch. Just like the men, the SEC tournament in Greenville, South Carolina is going to be exciting from top to bottom. Now, there's a few teams at the bottom that ain't great.
I'm excited. I'm going
for some really
for
good
the women's tournament. It's going to be fun. I get to go back. I got to go last year for the first time. I'm excited. It's going to be a fun trip and a fun time. I can't wait to be there. It's so cool because let's be honest, John. I mean, some of the best teams in the country are going to be there.
They are. South Carolina.
Some of the best coaches, some of the best players. I mean, all the way down to Madison Scott and Michaela Blakes and
Powell,
I mean,
O'Reilly, Fajay
Fajay Johnson and Anisha Morrow. I mean, I get to be there and watch them all. It is
that's a joy to be able to do.
It's really amazing, to be honest. So I can't wait for it. But all right. Tennessee comes to town. This is a very, very important game. Like I said, the women are still undefeated at Memorial this year.
You mean Texas? You said Tennessee. You was thinking about the men, I think.
Oh yeah, because I have it underneath. I have the men in Tennessee next. So, all right, that's the reason why Texas comes to town. Yeah, on Thursday. This is a huge game, and then after this game, I think it's Georgia that we play. Is that right? On Sunday. Let me look it up before we go, because I think it's Georgia we play on Sunday.
I think it is Georgia. I think it's a home game.
Yes, we play Georgia on Sunday, and Georgia at home should definitely be a win.
Definitely, yeah.
For the girls, so that should definitely be a win. But if we could somehow pull off a win against this Texas team, and listen, this Texas team, they got a girl named Preston who comes off the bench behind. She's a freshman. It comes off the bench behind Roy Harmon. That is just as good as her. I mean, she's amazing. Just tough. I mean, this Texas team can go 10 deep. Taylor Jones, Oldacre, Holly, Madison Booker, Rory Harmon. I mean, they
got the big girl. Was it from overseas? I can't think of her name.
This Texas team is the real deal, and I'm not even playing. It's going to be an absolute nightmare of a game. I can tell you this much. Amelia Hassett and Deja Lawrence, you have to show up and knock down some shots for us to have a chance to win.
Yeah, because Texas
is coming to town.
Texas is going to hit some shots, I can just tell you.
They're not a great three-point shooting team outside of Holly. Holly is the one 3-point shooter. Outside of her, they score a lot of inside buckets.
That's what I mean. In the paint,
they're going
to score some points in the paint. Is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yep, that's what they do. That's what Texas does.
Yeah.
They're not a great 3-point shooting team.
Mm-mm.
Yes, we did. Beat y'all, I think, 18, if I remember right. All right. That's going to wrap it up for the women. Number 8, I'm hoping that they could maybe get this win, a tough, what would be an absolute monster win if Kenny Brooks could get a win against this Texas team. However, likely that won't happen, but I'm hoping. Let's just put it that way. All right. We're going to switch it up, and we're going to go to the men, talk about the men. Tennessee comes to Rupp tomorrow night. John, the Cats won in Knoxville.
They did. They played really, really well. Jaxson Robinson had, I think, 17 that night. And unfortunately, this game, Jaxson Robinson will not be playing. Kentucky's health all season long has been a big issue. They've not really had a healthy team altogether, probably since Clemson. They
did put out the availability report. Jaxson Robinson is listed as out. Yeah. Now, I will say this. Pope did have a show tonight.
Yeah.
A coach's show tonight. And on the coach's show, he kind of indicated that it might be a game time decision.
Yeah, he said it could. He said we'll see how it goes.
So they're gonna try him tomorrow before this game.
And see how it goes. Yeah.
There is what I'm saying to you guys is this. If all goes well, I think on the updated availability report tomorrow, you will see him listed as a game time decision.
Yeah, I think you will too. When it all
and I got that from Pope himself on his radio show.
Yeah,
the Pope.
He said that they're a patch of work. He said he's trying to get Lamont Butler and Jaxson taped up. He said this, health wise. He said this on ESPN. It's really stressing him out. It's really causing stressful situations because he's having to move people in and out of rotations, lineups.
Madeline, it's his wrist. If you remember in the last game, he went out a couple of times, especially in the second half.
Yeah, he was
holding his wrist. He actually had a wrap on his wrist in the last game against South Carolina, and he went out holding his wrist a couple of times in the second half.
Chris brings up a good point. He said, here's a thought. Lamont Butler is number 2 on the team in turnovers with 38. By far is the worst ball handler of all your guards. Might be time to move him off the point and put Brea at point guard. Now, I'm going to say that's a no because Brea is not a good defensive guard. He don't play a lick of defense. Now, he can shoot the ball as good as anybody, but you get him on defensive assignments. There was times, Brad, this year he gets lost.
Talking about Brea, if Jaxson Robinson is out, Brea absolutely has to step up against Tennessee tomorrow night.
He has to. He has to hit at least 3 threes or maybe even 4 to give this team a chance. We look at the South Carolina game Saturday, okay, Brad? I want to kind of go back to the South Carolina game Saturday. Everybody's been frustrated with Kentucky's defensive effort during the losing streak. They was much better against South Carolina. This is why he needs them to start playing hard defense because against South Carolina it was exciting. They only scored 57 points. Now, granted, I know South Carolina's not a great team. Everybody said, well, they're not real great. Well, they're not.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
But
here's the deal. Tennessee's not a great scoring team either.
They're not. And Kentucky's defense was what, 120 in Kempom? The South Carolina performance boosted them down to 90.
But Tennessee's not a great offensive team.
You want to know the reason why it boosted down to 90 is because Lamont Butler was there. he changes their on-ball defense to where it forces, watch the few minutes of the game. His hands and the way he was moving, he caused a couple turnovers right out of the gate.
I hope you're right, Clyde.
Now, we all know they're good for offense, but I've said it all year long. I've said it 2 weeks, Brad. I've said it probably since the Gonzaga game. What's going to make or break Kentucky in the NCAA tournament is their ability to play defense. If they get better on the defensive end, I think they can get to the Elite Eight, maybe Sweet 16. And, defense wins championships. And Pope knows he needs to find a way to get this team to improve and finish out SEC play in a strong suit.
Yeah, but here's the deal, John.
Once we get that bye,
this team has to get healthy.
They do. I agree.
That's what's wrong with this team is they can't stay healthy. I mean, right now, if you include Carr, who is still on the sideline in a back wrap every time he's out of the game.
Yeah, you've seen this one, yeah.
Yeah, he's still in a back wrap every time he's out of the game. If you include Carr, Carissa, now we've got Butler and Robinson. Butler is also listed on the availability report, but he's listed as probable tonight. So, I mean, half of our team that is playing is injured somehow. I mean, in some way.
Here's the good news.
Somehow, in some way.
Here's the good news. Butler's most likely going to play, which means he's going to suit up. Robinson's probably the second leading scorer on the team. They're going to have to look for offense in different ways. Now, like you said, Kobe Brea had a big game against Tennessee 2 weeks ago. So they're going to try to keep the ball out of his hands.
I'm going to say this about Butler real quick. Butler's issue is his health. He's been one of the premier point guards in college basketball the last 3 years at San Diego State. He took a team to the Final Four. He took a team to the final game. He hit the shot to take them to the final game. Butler's issue, and a lot of those turnovers has been sloppy play because of his health, because of his shoulder. Now, I'm not going to sit here and make an excuse for him because that is what is happening. He has had some crazy sloppy turnovers because of this injury. If it continues, I would agree with you that we do have to take the ball out of his hands. But let's be honest, over the last 4 games or so, Chris, if you watch Kentucky play, Amari Williams has had the ball in his hands an awful lot, leading this Kentucky team, the 7-footer.
Well, Madeline, to be honest, that's where you're just going to have to suck it up, boy. She said, if we are sickly now, what's going to happen in March? When there's more, you're just going to have to play in March. I'm sorry. The games are over. You're going to have to play.
But Madeline, that's what I was talking about, is that, all of these issues and our losing streak 4 out of 5 and all that we have had has happened because of injuries. And here's the deal. You're asking, about March and what's going to happen. Well, if we don't get healthy, and John, I'll tell you the same. You said we're just going to have to suck it up. If we don't get healthy, we have seen what's going to happen. We lost 4 out of 5 games.
Yeah.
We've already seen it.
Well, and this is a good time, Brad, because we got Tennessee tomorrow night. You got kind of a little stretch here where you can make a little running streak. You got Texas on Saturday, and then you play Vanderbilt on Wednesday night. And then you go
So you got Tennessee here. And let's be honest, if you could get past that game, I think at Texas is a winnable game.
It's a winnable game.
And we've got Chris on here, and I'm going to tell you guys right now, there is no chance that Vanderbilt ought to be able to come into Rupp and beat us, especially after beating us there. And that's the game. If Chris is a Vandy fan, he was watching that game. That's the game. Butler was atrocious, but it was because of his shoulder.
Yeah, he played bad.
Atrocious.
You look at this matchup with the Vols. Kentucky's been exposed at times on defense, man-to-man. Ziegler is back. He's back from injury. Now, in the first game, the Vols did almost everything right to win the game. They had the bench playing really well. They had points in the paint. They had some second chance points. The biggest problem that the Vols had was from behind the arc. Kentucky shot 43%. And Tennessee is a team that is number one in three-point defense. I expect Tennessee to move them out from the three-point line and try to force them to play one-on-one off the dribble this game. I think this game will be a lot different when they match up this week. Now, it's easier said than done because when you go into the game, you don't know how matchups.
I'm going to tell you guys what I told John today when me and him was talking earlier today. Not very many times in the last 12, 15 years has either Tennessee or Kentucky swept the series. It's not happened a lot. Most of the time, this series is a split. It's been that way for many, many years of the last 10, 12, 15 years. We beat them in Knoxville. We beat them in Knoxville last year. I don't know if you guys remember, but we lost at Rupp.
Yeah, we did.
This is not going to be an easy game. They are not a great offensive team. I'm still not sold on what we've seen defensively out of with the South Carolina game because they're not a great offensive team. But neither is Tennessee.
Now,
Tennessee's not a great.
If Kentucky plays defense, if Kentucky plays defense against Tennessee like they did South Carolina, I think we have an issue. We have a big opportunity here.
Listen, Chris, we know ball handling and having a point guard that's healthy has been an issue. Like Kirk Carissa being out, we've been dealing with this since about the 6th or 7th game of the year,
and not just this year. And not just this year. This has been an ongoing thing for Kentucky for the last 5 to 6 years. Injuries. But as far as healthy,
Clyde says Kentucky swept Tennessee 2 seasons ago. Maybe so, and I haven't looked all of it up, Clyde.
They did.
My point is
23 and
that
24.
It hasn't happened a lot. Neither team over the last 12, 15 years.
They did in 22 and 23. They swept them.
Yeah.
I think that was the Ty Washington team.
It hasn't happened a lot.
Oster's last year was with us. That's what it was.
Madeline, I'm going to be honest with you. I have had this conversation with John in the last week. It seems like to me every single year Kentucky is dealing with injuries, and it's been 4 or 5 years in a row we have had injuries. You talk about that you can remember. I'm getting to a point right now. It's hard for me to remember that we had a team that didn't have some injuries. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's maybe the Tyler Hero year. I don't know. Because it's been forever ago.
Yeah.
Since we didn't have injuries to deal with. So
great opportunity tomorrow night.
It is.
Like I said, quad one game.
Kai Ziegler is a great player, and he's had some good games against us. I remember a few.
Now, if Kentucky's hitting like they did in Knoxville, I'll say this. What was it? The P.J. Washington season when Kentucky blew Tennessee out by 20-something points. Was it in Lexington when game day was there?
Clyde, if that's true, and I'd have to go back and look, but if that's true, that's insane. Like it's been forever.
That's the year
I was thinking maybe 19 with Tyler Hero, but maybe it is 17. I don't know.
That's when they had De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk.
Yeah, the 17 team was Bam.
Yeah, they was pretty. They stayed healthy about all year.
Yeah. It's been so long ago, I can't even remember when it was.
Yeah, but she says that she don't think of basketball as being aggressive compared to football. No, but you go through beats and bangs through the year, like you're.
But we have had injury after injury after injury. It seems year after year.
Yeah, I agree, Chris. He said if we can get the score into the 80s against Tennessee, you'll have a great chance to win the game.
Actually, Chris, when we beat them in Knoxville, we scored 78 points. At the time, that was the most points they had given up all year. Yeah. They had not given up 80 all year. 78 was the highest.
I'll say this real quick before we get off here. If Kentucky's hitting their shots and Kentucky's hitting like they would, because we saw it, Brad. The Florida game, the what was the one A&M. When Kentucky's hot from outside, they can run away with some games. And Tennessee's not a great shooting team. Tennessee don't want to get in a shooting match with Kentucky, I can just tell you. They want to slow things down, make them try to force shots. They don't want to get in a running match because they don't have the shooters that Kentucky.
No, they're going to try to play physical.
Yeah, they're going to try to play physical and want to play in the 50s and the 60s. And that ain't our game. If Kentucky can get out and run a little bit tomorrow night, get some shots, I think Kentucky's got a great chance at winning this game. I do.
All right. Let's talk about the outlook. First, I want to talk about the men because that's what we're talking about here. Mm-hmm. But right now, Kentucky is sitting at 4-4 in 5-5. I mean, in the SEC, they're sitting at 5-5, 500. Mm-hmm. There's 8 games remaining. We got Tennessee tomorrow night that we've talked about. Then we're at Texas, and then we play Vandy at home. Let's be honest, guys. If somehow, because we were 4-5, we could go on a 4-game winning streak here before we get to Alabama and a little bit harder schedule down the stretch, okay? Mm-hmm. It would be huge for this team if they could get to 8-5 after being 4-5 in the conference. I think they would still have a shot, an outside shot of being 11-7 in conference.
Mm-hmm. They're going to have to beat Tennessee tomorrow night
to do that.
Yeah.
Because here's the deal. Outlook on these teams for the men here. Let's be honest, John. If they lose tomorrow night, 9-9 in the SEC is looking pretty good.
Yeah. Which isn't bad considering Pope's first year, though. I mean, because we didn't really expect a lot this season. I mean, if you look at it from – but here's my outlook. I think they win the next 3. I think they lose at Alabama. I don't think they're going to beat Alabama down there. I don't. Alabama's tough.
And I think the Auburn game at home is going to be a rough one to be honest.
It's going to be rough too. Yeah. Now
And I'll be honest with you, I'm not so sure that Missouri on the road is going to be a
I think we can beat LSU at home. I think we can beat Oklahoma on the road. Oklahoma's fell apart. I don't know what's happened to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
That's a different topic for another night.
But that's what I'm saying, John. We would have those two games plus Alabama on the road, Auburn at home, and Missouri on the road to finish if we could win these next three and have a 4-game win streak.
Well, I don't think Auburn's going to demolish us, Madeline. I just don't believe that.
Well, it all depends on how healthy we are and how we play, to be quite honest with you.
I'm sorry.
I do think Auburn's a better team than us, and I'm just being honest.
I don't think they're going to demolish us. No, that's just crazy talk. I don't think they're going to demolish us.
Clyde, I want to win 4 in a row too. I mean, and it's like we got it started against South Carolina. It has to continue tomorrow night, and then we could get Texas and Vandy. That would be four nice wins in the middle of the season off of that 4 out of 5 losses. And
I've seen a lot of good.
We could kind of turn things around a little bit in this season if we could do that.
I've seen a lot of good Auburn teams come into Rupp get blown away with Bruce Pearl. That's all I'll say on that. So,
well,
I just don't agree with that. I just don't agree with that comment.
We'll talk more about that when we get there. But that Auburn team is really good. Yes,
they're good, Brad.
They had a letdown the other night.
They're not invincible. I mean, they're not the 80s. They're not the Showtime Lakers. I mean, they're,
I tell you what, they lost and still held the number 1 spot today. That's how much better they were than any of the other teams.
I didn't say using timeout. I'm just saying, I just think we're overreacting to some of these games. Until we play some of these games.
These guys right here, just so you guys know, they have some beautiful beards. I'm telling you, go look them up on X. They have a podcast. They're great. I appreciate you guys being here. They have some, just beautiful beards.
Majestic.
That's the name of their podcast there. Go check them out. They're great. They're great, to be quite honest with you.
I'm going to give you my prediction. I think we win the next 3 games, Brad, and we lose to Alabama. That's for right now, to our next show, because that's basically where we're going to start. Because I ain't going to give the whole season because we still got some time to go. But I think they win the next 3. I think, and then they lose to Alabama. I just don't think they'll win at Alabama.
So this is a Vandy fan. Chris is a Vandy fan. If you guys are just kind of tuning in, and he's talking about that Kentucky would have a chance to pass them, if they can take care of business against similar teams in the middle of the pack teams. And that's what we was talking about, the next few games coming up and the wins and stuff. So
you want to do the women real quick?
Yeah, just an outlook on, so the women, they have some tough home games coming up. They have the Texas game on Thursday. Then they do get a good home game against Georgia, but they also have home games against Tennessee and LSU. Okay, coming up. Those are all home games, okay? They're undefeated at home right now. And I know those are 2 top 5 teams and a top 15 team in Tennessee coming to town. Here's the deal, guys. If Kentucky wants to stay in the top and stay a top 16 team, they have to find a way to win at least one of those.
Yeah, at home. At least one of them.
They have to win at least one of those. Well, the Georgia game. I'm not counting. I'm talking about the Texas, Tennessee, and LSU at home. Yep. They have to find a way to win at least one of those.
Yep.
At least. to remain a top 16 team.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping will happen. The thought that they could win all three of those is probably
far-fetched.
An illusion. Yeah, far-fetched. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to illusion time there.
Yeah, I mean, trying to battle Madison Booker and Taylor Jones and Oldacre and then going to Anisha Morrow and Flau'jae Johnson and Michaela Williams and
then Cooper for Tennessee,
and then Cooper and Spear for Tennessee and
O'Reilly for South Carolina and Pow.
And then we got South Carolina at the end on the road, and I ain't even brought that game up because I know what that game is on the road. They don't lose in Columbia.
No, they hardly ever.
They pretty much don't lose in Columbia.
When was the last loss they ever lost in Columbia?
It's like 90 some games or something. It's
how long has Don Staley been there?
A long time, since like 15 or 17 or something. 15.
Before she got there, they weren't real great, was they?
No. But here's the outlook. The girls, the women are trying to stay in the top 16. That's what their goal is, to have home games in the first two rounds at Memorial and stay a 3 or 4 seed. I think that's about where they'll land, somewhere in that 3 or 4 seed and stay in the top, possibly make Sweet 16, Elite 8 in his first year. I think that would be fantastic. Could they upset somebody in the Elite 8? Maybe. I mean, Georgia's got that kind of talent. I think Clara Strack could play a great game. I think if Amelia Hassett is on and Deja hits some threes, I think that this team could definitely find a way to surprise some people in March.
Yeah. I was going to say something else. I forgot what I was going to say. I'll think of it here in a minute.
I'm hoping that they do one better than that at least, Chris. That's my hope. But they need to find a way to win one of those 3 that I was talking about, home games. I think I would love to win 2. I'd love to win 2 of them, and I don't think there's any illusion to win 3.
Oh, I was going to tell you before we log off for the night, the top 16 reveal is this weekend for the men's.
It is. And women's.
And
women's. On Sunday.
Men's is on Saturday. They do it right before CBS game, usually at 1 o'clock.
Well, the women's is on Sunday at noon.
So if Kentucky beats Tennessee tomorrow, I expect Kentucky to be in there. Now, if they lose, I don't expect them to be there. I expect them to be on the outside.
Madeline, score for tomorrow night?
A 5 seed. I don't want to give scores unless, I don't know. I think I don't like doing that because it's like.
I'll be honest with you. I think it's going to be a similar score that we saw in Knoxville. I really don't expect it to be in the 80s. I don't. Mm-hmm. I know Chris said if we get to the 80s, I agree. If we get to the 80s, I think we win. But I think it's going to be a similar score. I think it was 78-73 in Knoxville. And I would be surprised if it's more than that. I think it's somewhere in that same range.
Yeah.
That's where I would go with it. If you do go higher, it's going to be 81-77 or something.
I do know this. This is a monumental game, and I don't say that just to say that. Like, if you want to add to move up to possibly a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament, you need to win this game. Now, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Jay Billis and Dan Schulman will be there tomorrow night. So we'll get to see Ice Cream Jay Billis again. I actually like Jay Billis.
I'd rather listen to him than Jimmy. Lord have mercy.
Jimmy Dykes at times can drive the nail, Brad. Drive it to the floor, man.
I tell you what, I was so thrilled to listen to Damian Fishback the other night. I thought him and the guy that he was with from Vegas.
His last name was Shiflin.
Yeah, I thought they were much better. Much better.
I tell you who I like. I like John Sunvold.
Yeah, Sunvold. Sunvold's actually pretty good.
He knows his ball, man.
Yeah.
Pat Bradley ain't bad. When we get him, we haven't really got him much this year, but
yeah, we haven't got him.
We had him in a few non-con games, I think. But our Big Fuss show will be tomorrow night too at 9:00. We'll do a after the game, and are we going to try to do a post game like real quick with Kentucky if they win? Or
well, we'll see. We'll see how the game goes. I may be too PO'd to even do a show. I'm not sure.
I know one night you was mad and didn't even do a show. He's like, let's just wait till tomorrow and do it.
Well, if you guys know me, this is one of those games.
I know you, Brad.
I'll just say this. I don't like orange.
Yeah. We know. Oh, by the way, I got to ask a question. Did you eat your meatloaf?
That inside of the pumpkin orange.
Did you eat your meatloaf tonight?
I did eat some meatloaf tonight. It was damn good.
Oh, so I got to tell this story. So we got an inside joke here at College SportsCast. Mom was making meatloaf one night or something. And I told Brad, I said I was going to send him some meatloaf in the mail to him after we got done eating. Well, one night I was on the phone and I said, guess what I'm having for supper? And he said, what, meatloaf? And like from that day, we just kind of had the meatloaf inside joke, and I thought it was pretty neat. And then Brad comes up with a meatloaf recipe and sends to me today because apparently Facebook thinks of all the things that are in your brain that comes on the
if you talk about it, then Facebook knows about it or something. I don't know. Are you talking about SEC Coach of the Year?
He's talking about SEC.
Yeah.
Madeline says she makes the best meatloaf.
Okay, Madeline. I'm coming to your house. That's all there is to
it. Chris,
don't be teasing me with food now.
I do think Byington has some votes. I think Pope's going to have some votes. But if it had to boil down for me, I think it would be Dennis Gates. 0-19 last year. He's getting ready to take them back to the
They went over in the SEC last year.
And I would pick Dennis Gates. And I know that sounds crazy, but 0-19 to going back to the NCAA tournament, like that's a big deal. And fried chicken, she said. So she's getting you hungry here.
So. Coming, Madeline.
She's destroying Brad here. So yeah, Gates. Gates is a good coach. Byington's a good coach. I think Byington's a great coach, and I say that.
Chris, I don't know. I might vote for Calipari.
Yeah. I'll say this about Byington from Vanderbilt. I'll say this now. I'll say this about Vanderbilt's coach. He had to really, really dig deep into the transfer portal and get the guys that he thought he needed. That was a tough comeback from Jerry Stackhouse. And I think he's done a really good job. But can you hush back out, Perry? Goodness gracious, man. Of course you bring it up. I'm trying to forget about last weekend, last Saturday.
Oh, me. I'm sorry. That was funny.
I'm trying to forget about all that mess, man. And you keep bringing it
up. I can't help it. That was funny.
It was.
That was too funny, Chris. Had a little fun with that one. Sorry. All right, guys. We're going to wrap this up. We do plan on coming on tomorrow night after the show with a little bit of big fuss, or after the game tomorrow night. It is a 6:00 game tomorrow night. No, absolutely. I don't think anybody dresses as well
We
as
had
Stackhouse.
Cheetos breaded cheese sticks for the Super Bowl, Chad, as Chris said.
I don't think anybody dresses as well as Stackhouse.
No, I don't think so. Maybe Buzz Williams. Buzz Williams dresses up quite a bit.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. We will see you guys hopefully tomorrow
Go
night.
Eagles. Go Eagles. EAGLES, Eagles.
Oh, my goodness. This is coming from a Dallas Cowboys fan.
And you know why? Because I can't stand the Chiefs. That's exactly why.
But you're a Dallas Cowboys fan.
It don't matter.
How in the hell do you pull for the Eagles?
I just pulled for the Eagles last night.
That'd be like me saying,
Of course he's going to go on one of his rants right here.
if Chicago Bears was playing the Kansas City Chiefs last night, there is no way in hell I'm pulling for the Chicago Bears. That's all I'm saying.
Go Bears.
Shut up. All right. I'm a Packers fan, y'all. Go Pack. Y'all have a good one.
Have a good one.
All right.